Okay, can everyone see my screen right now?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm just going to kick off with a quick introduction to myself. So my name is Sandra, and I'm a solutions consultant here at ProScope/NetSuite. I run the EMEA side of the business, and I've worked closely with companies to help them work with solving the initiative problems with regards to project procurement. So I'm going to start with a quick agenda as to what I'm going to cover today on the webinar. So we're going to start with why effective project procurement is needed and why you should choose ProScope for NetSuite for your project procurement. We'll then cover a quick demo of project procurement on ProScope, and then we'll have some time at the end for discussions and questions and wrap up everything. So a quick introduction to why effective project procurement is needed. So I'm going to start off with cost efficiency and budget management. So if you've got a strong project procurement in place, it will really help you stay within budget. With selecting the right vendors will really help you obtain good services at competitive pricing, which will reduce your project costs. Now, if you've got strong project procurement in place as well, that will really help you with your risk mitigation and compliance. Now, that will really help you when you're identifying risks early and managing these risks more effectively, and having that process in place to manage your risks and identify these risks as early as possible will help you minimize any project delays and will help you complete your project on time. So with regards to quality assurance and stakeholder satisfaction, when you've got a strong project procurement process in place, you'll be able to monitor your supplier performance and maintain quality levels throughout the project life cycle. Now, for the really good question is why ProScope for NetSuite? So you might be thinking, well, I've got NetSuite, it's got a project procurement module in place. Why not just use that? So what I'm going to show you today is ProScope having that advantage which enhances the project procurement functionality of NetSuite. So you'll still be able to leverage the core functionalities of NetSuite and get all the benefits of real-time data visibility, configurable workflows, all the reporting, and at the same time, you'll have an enhanced project procurement functionality, which is specifically designed for companies that are trying to grow or companies that want to avoid all the manual work with regards to project procurement. And you just want to have everything automated and have a really structured process in place to help your company grow and work in a more effective way. So this is a really good diagram which shows you a high-level overview of what project procurement process looks on ProScope. So the ones highlighted in yellow are really showing you that what functionality is already available for you in NetSuite, and the ones highlighted in red is the extra functionality that's been added for you with the ProScope enhancement. So I'm going to pick up where Katie left off last time, where she talked to you about estimating and budgeting and how you can put an estimate and budget together for your project. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start reviewing and approving all the requisitions that Katie has put through to the project last time. And after that, there will be two ways this can go. So whether you've got these items in stock, you'll be able to pull them directly from stock, transfer them to the project bin. They'll be then transferred into what we call issuable materials that you can issue to the project. So the ones in yellow, you can see this functionality is already in NetSuite. If you've already got NetSuite, the functionality in red is what you'll get out of an enhanced functionality using ProScope. So if you already have these items in stock, again, like I said, you'll be pulling them from stock, they'll be transferred to the project bin. Now, if you're purchasing these items, we do use the native NetSuite purchase order functionality, which we will place through the system. It will then transfer these orders directly to the project bin, making these orders issuable materials. Now, once these materials have been issued to the project, we can start using them on the project. And once we've completed the project, we can then record the consumption that we've used so that we can cost it back to the project. So I'm going to show you a quick demo of what ProScope looks like.
Okay, so I'm now logged in as a project manager in ProScope/NetSuite, which is a native NetSuite application that takes on the project lifecycle from start to finish. And since we're still in NetSuite and it's not a separate application, you'll be getting all the benefits of NetSuite dashboard capabilities, including the ability to configure each one of these portlets on the dashboard. Now, the way I've set up my dashboard is by having a couple reminders on the side that are key for me and setting up my shortcuts for areas that I navigate to on a more frequent basis. Now, what I really want to focus on is this project launchpad, which gives me a summary of all the projects that I'm currently working on, including a number of shortcuts next to each one of these project records that can direct me to key stages of the project management lifecycle. So what I'm going to do today is pick up from where Katie left off on the last webinar where she talks about project estimating and budgeting. What we're going to do is have a look at reviewing the requisitions that Katie has added last time and take you on that procurement process start to end, starting from reviewing requisitions all the way to actually consuming stock.
So I'm now in the review requisitions page where I'm going to start reviewing each and every one of the items that has been added during the estimating and budgeting phase at the start. I'm going to start by selecting the project I'm currently working on, and what that's going to do is it's going to load a full list of all the items that have been added during the estimating and budgeting phase at the start. Now, this is really useful for project managers when they're going through that review process because it gives you that full clarity of all the information you might need for each one of these items before you can go ahead and approve it. So a couple of things that I can keep an eye on this page is whether the item's got a responsible engineer assigned to it. Does this item have a mobilization record tied to it? Is this item an asset or not? Is it an inventory item or is it a non-inventory item? And most importantly, you can keep an eye on the quantity that's being requested as well as the total cost and the total price that it's come to based on the quantity that's being requested. So once I've gone through the process of reviewing each one of these items and I'm happy with everything I've seen, I can either approve them one by one or I can use the mark all as approved to mark them all as approved at once. Now, if for any reason I wanted to reject one of these items, you will get a chance to add your rejection reason at the top as well. Now, and once I'm happy with everything, I can go ahead and submit for review. So once I've completed the process of reviewing and approving all the items that have been requested during the estimating and budgeting process at the start, what I want to do now is get a bit more clarity around have I got these items in stock or do I need to purchase these items from a specific vendor? So I'm now in the Reserve Project Requisitions page where I've selected the project I'm currently working on, and again it's going to list a full list of all the items that have been approved on the stage prior to this. Now with the Reserve Project Requisitions page, this is really going to give project managers the full clarity and visibility that's needed around have we got these items in stock, how many items are being requested, and how many items do we need to order. Now, with regards to pulling items from stock, we can use the source details button, which can be found on each one of the requisition lines on the side. Going into the source details, I've got clarity of my overall quantity that's available in stock for me. And looking down here at a more granular view, I can see which subsidiary these items are stored in, as well as the location of the warehouse and the quantity that's available in each one of these warehouses. Now, once I've got that clarity, I can go ahead and type in the amount that I want to pull from stock, and then you can see that the quantity selected has been updated on the side as well. Now, if you do have the pick, pack and ship feature enabled on your NetSuite account, you can opt to use the transfer orders option as well from here. Now, when it comes to items that I haven't got in stock and I still need to purchase it from a vendor, I can either have a preferred vendor set up for my items, which will be automatically selected on this stage. Now, if I haven't got a preferred vendor set up for any of my items, I can easily use the drop-down menu, which will give me a full list of all the vendors I've got set up on the system. Now, there will be times where you're still waiting on an RFQ that you've sent out for one of your items. Now, in here, you'll be able to keep track of a live status of your RFQ and the RFQ record as well. Now, once the RFQ has been completed and a vendor of choice has been selected, your purchase contract will also appear on here. So once I've chosen where I want to pull these items from, whether it's purchasing it from a vendor or pulling it from stock, again, I can either manually mark them all for order or mark them all for approval manually, or I can use the mark all for reservation and mark all for purchase. Now, something to keep in mind with items that still have a bid open for an RFQ, the system won't let me actually proceed with the procurement process for these items until the bid has been closed and a selected vendor has been chosen. So as I'm going through my procurement process, I want to keep track of how far along I am with my procurement plan. So I'm now in the procurement plan, and this can be found on each one of my project records. So as you can see, the system has color coded each one of my requisition lines based on the status of how far along this requisition line is in the procurement process. Now, this can really help project managers identify how far along each one of these requisition lines is at in the procurement process. So as I'm going through my procurement plan, there's a couple of areas that I can keep track of looking at my procurement plan. So I can keep an eye on whether that requisition has a mobilization record tied to it. Does it have a work order package for a subcontractor tied to it? What are the days to mobilize if it does have a mobilization record? What is the requisition need date? And if it's got an RFQ tied to it as well. Now, what I'm really focused on at the minute is the purchase order section of this procurement plan. Now, depending on whether you're transferring these items or you're purchasing them, a purchase or transfer order will be generated in this section of the procurement plan. Now, depending on your user permissions, you can go into the purchase order record and directly mark it as received from here once it's been received at site. So once the package has been marked as received at site, you'll get a chance to review the item receipt before actually billing the vendor. Now, if you haven't got access to your desktop and you want to mark goods as received at site to make sure that costs are hitting the project in real time, you'll have the option to leverage the power of the ProScope mobile app, which you can use to receive goods as well as request new requisitions on the go. Now I'm at a stage in my project life cycle where I've received some items at site and I want to issue them to the project so that I can start consuming them on the project. So I'm now in the material issuing page where again I've selected the project I'm currently working on and I've gone ahead and selected the activity package that the items that I'm looking to issue are stored in. Now what's going to happen is all the items that have been received at site that are relevant to that activity package will be listed for me down here, and it's going to give me that full clarity and visibility of how many items have been reserved, how many have been received, how many have been issued already, and how many I'm still able to issue to the project. So once I've got that clarity and visibility, I can go ahead and start typing in the amount that I want to issue. So it could be that I don't want to issue the full amount at once. It could be that I want to issue 3 for now, maybe 4 later. It really gives you that flexibility to select the amount that you want to issue. It doesn't have to be that you issue the full amount all at once. It could be that you want to issue some for now and maybe some later. Again, once I'm happy with everything, I'm going to go ahead and save that.
So I'm now at a stage where the project's been completed and I want to start recording the amount that I've actually consumed on site to cost it back to the project. So I'm going to start by going to register project inventory usage, and again I'm going to select the project I'm currently working on. I've also selected the activity package that these items are stored in, and that's going to automatically list all the items that have been issued to the project and actually can be consumed on the project site. So you'll get that clarity and visibility with regards to the quantity that's consumable for each one of these items. And then once you've got that clarity, you can start by typing in the amount that you've actually consumed on site. This will really ensure that you've got an accurate record of the amount of items that you've actually consumed on site. Now, if you don't want to go through this manual process of typing in the amount that has been consumed on site, what you can do is opt for the project item auto consumption, which can be found on every project record. Now, if I have that option checked, what will happen is any item that has been received at site will be marked as consumed, and it will automatically cost the items to my project. So once these items have been marked as consumed, what happens is an inventory adjustment record is automatically generated for each one of these items. And this is really to help you make sure that inventory counts are accurate and that the cost is hitting the project. Now, when it comes to returning items back to the warehouse, the project inventory put away really helps you understand the items that have been left in the project bin and haven't been marked as consumed, as well as the items that have been marked as consumed. Now looking down here, I've got full clarity of how many of these items I've still got on hand. I can also select the return location and the return bin for each one of these items. And once I've got that clarity, I can go ahead and type in the amount that I want to return from these items. Now, when it comes to items that have been marked as consumed on site, again, I've got that full clarity and visibility. Now, if you are looking to return everything from your project bin, you can use that option to return everything all at once for you, and it will automatically select the total amount that you've got on hand to go back to the warehouse. Now, this process really makes sure that it removes any cost that may be incorrectly attributed to your project as well. Now, as I've been going through my procurement process, I've marked some items as consumed, I've returned some unused items back to the warehouse, which is making changes to the costs that are hitting the project. By using this activity task view, I can keep track of all the costs that have been hitting the project by each one of these activity packages all in real time. So that's really everything I wanted to show today. I hope you found this demo useful, and I'm just going to go back to my slides now.
Okay, so I'm going to cover a couple frequently asked questions that I get a lot when I'm demoing to a lot of the clients I've demoed to. So the first one is they usually ask me during the reserve project requisition stage, would the system retrieve stock that's being currently used by a different project? Now, my answer would be definitely not. So when you've got your inventory reserved for a specific project, this inventory is automatically updating the inventory count in your entire database. So that inventory won't be available for any other project to pull into their own project if one of your projects has these reserved for a specific project. So the next question is, what if the start date for a project task has changed? Would I be able to adjust the requisition required by date? So what's really good about ProScope is once you've dragged and changed, once you've dragged and changed a project task start date, you can tie it to a requisition delivery date, which can automatically adjust that once you've adjusted the project start date. It will automatically adjust your requisition delivery date as well. So last question that I have on the frequently asked questions is how ProScope deals with variations and change orders, and how are they managed using ProScope? So for this question, I've got a screenshot here of the ProScope app explaining how it looks on ProScope. So with change orders, they are exactly the same as a normal activity package. Only difference is that we check the variation box, and it will check once that variation has been approved and it's been sent for approval. And once it's been approved, that box will also be checked. So you'll be able to keep track of whether that variation has been approved or not through the variation record itself. So one thing to keep in mind is once you've got an activity change order in the system, what you can do as well is use early warnings and compensation events supported by ProScope. And on every project record, you'll be able to keep track of all of your early warnings as well as your compensation events, which work for both customers and for subcontractors as well. So that's everything I wanted to show today on this webinar. I hope you found this useful. I'm open to any questions. If anyone's got any questions, please drop them down in the chat now.